New Thought Media Network proudly presents Realizing Wholeness with Dr. Ali Benjamin. Thursdays at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Live on New Thought Media Network and YouTube.com. Now, let's join Dr. Ali in Realizing Wholeness.
Hello and welcome to Realizing Wholeness. I'm Ali Benjamin, and every week we jump on and share some spiritual insights, some meditation, and I trust that tonight's episode will bring you closer to that center of peace and give you a greater sense of presence, so that you can enjoy your life even more. And so I invite you to take a moment. Let's maybe start with a little centering breath, if you will. Join me in closing the outer eyes and turning within. I like to say going inside and down. And as you become centered right here in this moment, right here within yourself, and you simply breathe and pay attention to this moment, closing the door to the past, closing the door to the future for now. And simply occupying this space, this now moment. And relax and arrive. Become open, allowing. One more deep breath, inhaling peace and exhaling peace. Maybe place your hand on your heart. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Very good. Well, it's good to be here. We took a little road trip, my husband and I, and did some camping. And I had the flu the whole time, so it was interesting to not feel good and be on an adventure, but it also was a great opportunity to practice some of the things that I'm going to be teaching and sharing this evening about accepting it all, embracing it all, and being really committed to living life to the fullest, regardless of what the circumstances are. And so it's good to be back. It's good to be having a practice together with you, whether you're here live with me this evening or you're watching this as a replay. So my title is Living Totally. And this week's practice focuses on the power of avoidance, the power of acceptance, and the commitment to living totality, living totally, living full on. And so we're going to dive into this a little bit more. And the reason I chose this topic was when I was reading this morning, I came across a couple of quotes. One by Henry Thoreau, and he wrote, "I went into the woods because I wanted to live deliberately. I wanted to live deep and suck out all the marrow of life, to put to rout all that was not life, and not, when I came to die, discover that I had not lived." And so I find tremendous inspiration from reading Henry Thoreau and of his experiment of going into the woods, going into a place of just being with himself, being with his life, and finding a sense of self, a sense of what's really important. And I think for many of us on our journey to self-discovery, on our spiritual journey of having a closer walk with the divine, we are faced with this very real opportunity to look at ourselves and to question why we're here and to determine what's working in our lives and what isn't. And so another quote that I read today was by Richard Rudd, an amazing teacher and author of the Gene Keys. If you're looking for something to dive into, something that is deeply spiritual and poetic and awakening, all of the books by Richard Rudd, and also you can find him at the genekeys.com and all over YouTube and wherever you find inspiration that way. Richard Rudd says, the way of totality shows us the truth about life, that it can only be understood when it's lived totally, without judgment, without flinching, without hesitation, just trusting in the rush of knowing that our destiny is perfect, exactly as it is right now. So, how does that sit with you, that life is perfect as it is right now? And I can hear my own ego, my own personality structure say, well, no, it's not perfect. You've got this lung thing going on. You haven't been feeling well, and you haven't been able to do the things that you maybe had on your list. I can hear that part of me that wants to jump in and point out all the things that aren't working well, all the things that I would prefer that to have or be experiencing, I'm not. And that's not the point here. The point is that this life that we're living, this very moment that you're experiencing, this is it. This is what I'm talking about when I'm suggesting that we embrace it all as it is and not label it wrong or not push against it, but embrace it all and accept it all. And when we do that, what bubbles up for me anyway is all the ways that I avoid life, all the things that I do or the thoughts that I think that take me away from actually embracing reality as it is and finding the good in whatever it is. And when things don't go my way, or maybe you feel the same, maybe you distract yourself with scrolling through social media or going on shopping sprees or overeating or eating unhealthy foods or complaining a lot inside, finding fault, making excuses as to why we're not living our best life. All of those are avoidances that give us a sense that there's something wrong. And so my question today is, what if there's nothing wrong? What if this life that you're living, that I'm living, that we're living, has all come together perfectly? That this life we're living, with all the things that our ego, personality structure decides that is wrong or missing or has some negative judgment about, that's just a habit that we've become accustomed to doing, complaining, pushing back, arguing, grumbling, finding fault, distracting ourselves, filling up that perceived hole or that emptiness with a number of things that really don't take us anywhere. That maybe we're simply all trying to avoid sadness, anger, discomfort, fear. And so in an attempt to avoid those things, we distract ourselves. Well, I'm suggesting, what about accepting it all? What about embracing all of it and seeing that everything is an opportunity to move through with grace, or at least as much grace as we can find, because grace lives within every moment. I believe grace is like a river, and we simply move in line or in that flow of grace, and it's a choice. And so by accepting it all, embracing everything, and seeing that it's actually for us, and everything that is presented is an opportunity for us to give rise to this deeper part of who we really are, this soulful self. We have this ego personality structure that has been built on over time, that we've developed and adjusted to our life, our situation, started in our childhood. And so we craft this personality with its strategies and patterns and tactics that we think is going to help us navigate. When over time, if you're paying attention, you might see that some of those patterns, those strategies don't work, that they are avoiding the inevitable or keeping you avoiding the inevitable, that life is happening, that we're always at the threshold, the green growing edge of our own becoming, and we always have an opportunity to respond from that spiritually mature part of us that is fully capable of dealing with whatever comes our way, our anger, our fear, our grief, our sadness. There's something deep within all of us. I call it the higher self, or the true self, or the soulful self, that once we're aware of it, we can take time to bring it online, to cultivate it, to lean on it, to trust it. That when we're living in this soulful, centered way, that we are more better equipped to accept everything, to not take things personally, to not label things as difficult or object to things, but to sit and embrace and trust that there's something in us, within each and every one of us, that is just waiting quietly, is always there. We just simply reveal it through our awareness, through understanding it's there, through calling upon it, trusting it, leaning into it, and it develops, and it becomes the stranglehold that our personality or our ego structure has on our happiness and on our essential self begins to loosen, and we begin to break those patterns of dysfunction, of reaction, of sadness, fear, of anger. And we start to find that through accepting these parts of our personality, the angry parts, the sad parts, the fearful parts, and we start to give some time, we start to explore, we start to find that there's a reason that we feel sad or angry or fearful. And typically through self-discovery, through self-observation, we begin to see that these things, they started a long time ago. And once we understand that they're not who we are, they're temporary, they're transitory, they come and they go, we disidentify with them, and we identify with this deeper part of our self, this essential self. And then we, like Richard Rudd says, the way of totality shows us the truth about life that can only be understood when it's lived totally, without judgment, without flinching, without hesitation, just trusting the rush of knowing that our destiny is perfect exactly as it is right now. When we can accept all of it, our failures, the things that didn't go the way we wished they had, the people that we've lost, the jobs, the titles, the roles, the money, all the things that are no longer the way they used to be, when we can accept all of it and fully embrace ourselves as we are now, with no regrets, just deep gratitude for all that has been, all that has helped us come to this point right now, this point of awareness where we can begin to have compassion, not only for ourselves, but everyone, because everyone is doing the very best they can with what they know and what they have, the resources they have. And so when we start to see this, we start to zoom out and take that higher perspective, we see that everyone has regrets, disappointments. Everyone struggled with health issues or lost someone they care about or something they care about. And when we start to relax the grip on wanting things to be the way our ego wants them, and we start to dissolve into presence, we start to feel that essential self that we truly are, beyond the personality structure, beyond all our preferences, our wishes, our desires, and we simply settle into embracing all of it, catching ourselves when we do unhealthy things to avoid the pain and struggle of life, but we embrace it full on, head on. We start to realize that we're resilient, that we have more abilities than we've given ourselves credit for, that we've actually made it through a lot. And if you look over the course of your life, you'll see you've made it. You're here. And if you're listening to this message, then I trust that there's something here that either I'm bringing forward or that's arising within you now as you start to really contemplate what it means to live life totally, full on, without hesitation. That maybe the labels that you've been putting on it are the things that are causing you to not really feel the profound depth of joy that is here. And it's not always joyful, I'm not saying that, but there's a deep joy for simply being here, being alive, having this experience, knowing that you've got people that love you, that you love people, that people care about you, You care about people. There's a lot of life to live. There's a lot of new things to discover. And all of this reveals itself when we start accepting life on life's terms, when we start having deeper compassion for those parts of us that we maybe push down or deny or don't accept, because we all have those shadow parts. We all have those brilliant parts, and life's kind of a blend of all of it. And we do our best to bring forth our most empowered self, that part of us that loves life, that part of us that wants to bring joy and wants to be of service and wants to create beauty in the world. And we start to act and respond from that part of us, more than that sad, fearful, sometimes angry, reactive part. But we love that part too, because it's part of who we are. So as we start to explore all the different ways we can begin to love ourselves more fully, accept ourselves more fully, and to shine our light full on, even in the darkest of times, we can be a light. And so I have some self-inquiry questions that I'd like to offer in a little meditation. So if you will, join me in closing the outer eyes again and turning within. And I share this quote from Joseph Campbell, the great mythologist. He once said, "I don't believe people are looking for the meaning of life as much as they're looking for the experience of being alive." And so I invite you to examine, explore, inquire inside yourself, inside your mind and inside your heart, inside your very body, the answers to these questions. What are you avoiding? What are you avoiding in your life? And why? Sometimes when we don't question, we just keep on repeating the same old avoidances. And we don't stop and ask ourselves, why am I avoiding this? Am I avoiding speaking up? Am I scared of disappointing someone? Am I scared that I won't be loved or accepted? Why am I avoiding taking the risk of that new job, that career path? Why am I avoiding that? Maybe we're avoiding things because it's scary. But there's a lot of life to be lived outside of our comfort zone. So again, what are you avoiding and why? And just let some answers, some words, some ideas, some thoughts bubble up. And maybe do a little journaling later on after this episode. The next question: who would you be if you accepted it all? Who would you be if you accepted life as it is? If you accepted it all? As Byron Katie says, when we argue with reality, we lose only 100% of the time. So what if we accepted it all and trusted that whatever we needed to cope with the situation, to deal with life, would be revealed the perfect timing. Who would you be if you embraced all of life? If you took it all in, the highs, the lows, all of it, and you trusted yourself that you could cope, you could handle it. That on the other side of this challenge, on the other side of this loss, on the other side of this diagnosis, there's a gift. There's more life. There's more nuance. There's more possibilities, because this life is full, infinite possibilities and potentialities. And so when we embrace it all, we get a glimpse of that. We start to build up an energy, an enthusiasm, and an excitement to move in the direction of our life, whatever that might be, with a deeper sense of who we truly are as spiritual beings having this very human experience. Next question, who would you be if you committed to living totally? Who would you be if you committed to living totally? And what impact would you have on others if you fully committed to living your most authentic, soulful self? What kind of impact would you have? And as you feel energy shifting and changing, ideas bubbling up, reality becoming a more friendly place, I give you my love and appreciation for being here, for taking this time to do some self-inquiry, to do some inner work, to discover who you've been all along. You are beautiful, you are loved, you are amazing. Peace and blessings to you, and thank you for being with me. If you'd like to support this ministry, you can go to satyalive.org or Venmo or PayPal, Satya Center. Again, thank you. I'm Ali Benjamin, and we have a whole team of practitioners that would love to support you. If you're struggling, if you would like support, then don't hesitate to outreach to us. You can Gmail us at the Satya Center, and you can find us at satyalive.org. I'll see you next Thursday, and join me Monday for my show Growing Edge Live, and my guest this week will be Michelle Medrano, and we're talking about the Enneagram. Mwah. Peace and blessings to you, lots of love, and let me know how your self-inquiry and your meditation go this week. Mwah. Peace and blessings.